Hey, it is Kenny from Kenny's Audiophile Record Reviews. Thank you very much for viewing my video. As always, please like and subscribe. That would help me out. I really appreciate it. In this video, I'm going to review a record that from a label that one of my viewers mentioned in a comment in the comment section of one of my videos. I did a video on this album, a review of this album, Mcintosh Sessions, a Peter Erskine quartet. And in the comment section of that video, one of my viewers mentioned this record label that's known for, in his words, like being there type sound. And I said to myself, I have records from this record label. This record label is called Sheffield Labs. And I was going to take him to task and listen, because I hadn't listened to my Sheffield Lab records in a long, long time. So I thought I'd take him to task and see if that's actually true, and see how the Sheffield Labs record that I chose to review in this video, how it would stack up with this more modern record, a Mcintosh issue of the Peter Erskine Quartet. I'm going to do a comparison near the end of the video. But the record that I chose from Sheffield Lab, and oh, by the way, I have about 10 Sheffield Lab records, I believe, and I showed them at the end of this video. I have several direct-to-disc records. These are my Impulse Jazz records right here. And right next to it in this area, mostly of these are direct-to-disc records. I may have a few sprinkled in my collection, but most of them are in that section. So it was easy for me to go to that section and take those Sheffield Lab direct-to-disc records out, which is about 10. I'll show them at the end of this video. But the record that I'm going to review in this video, and to see if this actually gives me that you are there feeling, I'm going to have a comment about that, see if that's actually true, is this record called, the name is Makovich. I'm probably mispronouncing his name. This record was purchased at a thrift store probably 15-20 years ago. The previous owner put the sticker with a number on it, and I don't want to take it off because it might take part of the cover with it, so that will remain. This record, again, was issued on Sheffield Labs. It was recorded, actually issued in 1983. Produced by DACS and Lincoln Mayorga. Engineered by DACS. Recorded April 25th to 29, 1983. And there's a comment on this record that I would like to read you before I give my opinion on this record. This album was recorded with all tube electronics designed and built for Sheffield Labs. A single point stereo microphone was used to achieve a natural acoustic perspective. This technique requires music that is naturally balanced to the ear, which allows us to capture the full wealth and ambient information, the placement of the musicians, as well as the depth, spaciousness of the recording hall. In other words, they wanted to capture it all. The placement of musicians and the ambience and depth of the recording hall. It's going to be interesting. Like, again, this is what it says here. Complete unedited live performance recorded direct to disc. Now, direct to disc, as you many of you out there may know, bypasses magnetic tape. It does not use magnetic tape, but is recorded directly to a master analog disc with no magnetic tape involved. And they say this is very stressful on musicians because you got to get it right. You know, you got to get it right as they're playing. Otherwise, you got to go back and start all over again, set up a new disc and all that, you know, exercises they go to start these direct-to-disc recordings. And also, Sheffield Labs was founded by Doug Sachs, Lincoln Mayorga, and Sherwood Sachs, I should say. I'll show you the song listing. All these compositions are by Mr. Makovich, and I'm mispronouncing his name, I'm sure. If I am, I'm sorry. All these, from what I understand, are his compositions. Yeah, it looks like no, except for one. But when I first, oh, by the way, I also must say, my wife was out of the house when I played this record. She went shopping. And my room is adjacent to our living room. And so since she was out of the house shopping, and she had a great time out on a shopping spree, I was able to turn up the volume more than I actually normally do. And that really aided in the my assessment of this record. Normally I play it at a fair volume so I can get the ambience and the detail of recording, but I really turned this one up. A lot of music, like let's say for example, this Doors album, Soft Parade, a lot of Doors album, a lot of music should not be played at a library level. You got to turn it up a little bit to hear, what's going on in recording. You really do. And that's what I did with this album. Oh, by the way, I was using a Rega P8 turntable. For those of you who are not familiar with my channel, Rega P8 turntable with a Apheta 3 cartridge, a Whest, that's WHEST.20 phono stage, a Past Labs X2 preamplifier, and a audio balance technology VK60 tube amplifier. A balanced audio technology, I should say, VK60 tube amplifier, if I got that wrong the first time. But when I listened to this record, in the first track, I think it was the first track on this album, I hope it's coming out, it's a tribute to Earl Father Hines. I heard the percussion, and I believe it's on that track, I could be wrong, float and exist in a three-dimensional sound space that was somewhat unnatural from a quote-unquote normal stereo recording. It felt like I was visibly watching the sound move in a three-dimensional sound space. And the musicians were placed in a situation or an environment where you can point them out in a three-dimensional sound space. And I must say, oh, by the way, this album features Phil Woods on saxophone. Sorry for not mentioning this up front. Phil Woods on saxophone, Adam Makovich on piano, Mark Johnson on acoustic bass, Bill Goodwin on drums, Gene Estes on percussion. Sorry for not mentioning that up front. But when I was listening to it, especially Phil Woods' saxophone. Now, when I turned it up, when I was listening to Phil Woods, it almost sounded like me and my wife were at a live outdoor jazz concert. And we had a row within the first 10 rows. And we were really hearing the volume of the saxophone and the dimension and the realism and the three-dimensionality of the saxophone in a live venue. That's how this record conveyed Phil Woods' performance. It was Phil Woods was a standout on this record in terms of the way it was mic'd and recorded. You rarely hear a record in terms of liveliness and you are there, which is true on a record. And this one really pulled it off fabulously. And the musicians and the musicianship, as I say in a lot of my videos, was on point. It just sounded like this record. It sounded like a live concert or a live venue, I should say, was almost like it was transformed into my music room. It's like my music room was transformed into a live venue. That's how this record sounded on my system. And I say this a lot in my videos. I have a tall speakers, very tall speakers, and that really in a small room, by the way. And that kind of aids in the tall speakers aids in the enjoyment of records like this and the 3D realism that this record provides. I was really struck and amazingly surprised by the realistic you are there feeling of this particular record. I really was. If I were to compare this record to this Mcintosh Sessions record, and again, this Mcintosh Sessions record is great. It was mastered by Ryan K. Smith, produced by Jeff Levinson. It's a fabulous sounding record. I think I gave the sound a 9.5 and the performance a 9, I believe. If I were to compare the two, the difference is this record might be slightly more detailed in the the way the instruments are recorded. For example, the drum hit, cymbal hits, and you know, it might be more pristine in terms of the recorded sound, but not by much. This one's very close. Sometimes, and this one, sometimes the instruments may seem kind of not as pristine as this one, but the realism of you are there feeling, or you are there type of performance on a record, this one beats this one. It really does. It beats it. If I were to give this a grade in terms of sound, I'd give it a 9. As a jazz performance, I'd give it a 9 too. Now, this is on YouTube. I check it out on YouTube, but just keep in mind that if you listen on your cell phone or some other device, you may not get the same type of three-dimensionality or you are there feeling, or the depth dimension of sound stage, or realism that a good stereo setup or good turntable will provide. This one is for a very good system, this record. It was, like I said, it was very well recorded, very well mic'd. There was enough detail and enough three-dimensionality to think that you were in the venue. So yes, this one album really creates a you are there feeling. I paid $1 for this at a thrift store years ago, so it's worth the price of admission. Whereas this one, I paid $150 for this one. I did a review on this record. It's in my videos. You can find them in my videos, but I recommend you listen to this one. If you have this record, please leave your comments in the comment section below about the realism of this record. And also, this is a very good jazz record as well. It's a great jazz performance, especially Phil Woods. Like I said, in terms of the volume, it feels like Phil Woods is in the room, straight up. It feels like a live performance by all the musicians involved. So for the viewer who mentioned Sheffield Labs, props to you. Thank you, because I haven't listened to my Sheffield Labs in a long time. I give this record high marks, 9 and a 9. 9 on sound, 9 in performance. Now I'm going to briefly show you my Sheffield Labs records that I do have. And again, there's some other direct-to-disc recordings in this section from, like, you know, companies like Crystal Clear Records and other type of labels. But this is a Harry James, and this is on Sheffield Labs. Is another Harry James as well. And I'm gonna have to listen to these, see if I get the same feeling, that same you are there feeling. This is Lincoln Mayorga, one of the founders of the label. It's called Lincoln Mayorga and Distinguished Colleagues Volume 2. I don't have Volume 1. I wish I did. I think that's supposed to be a great record. Here's the part of the direct-to-disc machine. This is Volume 3. Again, this is Sheffield Labs. Another great Sheffield Lab record. I haven't listened to this in quite some time. This is a classical recording, and I bet you their classical recordings are fabulous. I don't even know if I've listened to this. I've had. It's been a long time. This one comes with a booklet and the record. I don't know if that's coming out on the video. If not, I apologize. Probably not. Dave Grusin. I have 2 copies of this one. Dave Grusin on Sheffield Labs. Lincoln Mayorga. Classical. You see, I bet you the classical records sound outstanding with the type of mic and recording processes they do with those direct-to-disc recordings with Sheffield Labs. But if you have any Sheffield Labs recordings or any direct-to-disc records, please leave your comments in the comment section below in terms of your opinion about Sheffield Lab records or other direct-to-disc records like I said, there's a company called, I think it's called Crystal Clear Records. And I have some of them in that section right there. But please leave your comments in the comment section below in terms of a listening experience, in terms of the you are there feeling for a jazz record. And if you like the music too, I give this high marks. 9 on sound, 9 in performance. And if you play it up and you have really good speakers, a really good turntable, really good equipment, it's going to give you that you are there feeling. That's actually true. Please leave your comments in the comment section below. Please like and subscribe. God bless, strong love, and please keep the peace worldwide.